Hey, what's up, guys? Little Man with a Big Opinion here. This video is going to be more of a rant. Um, the title of it's going to be "The Government's Not Going to Take Care of You. You Need to Take Care of Yourself." And I'm just going to throw out a bunch of different scenarios and what I'm doing within my own family to counteract those different things. I think the most recent one that, you know, politics on either side, you should be upset about, was the 425 million additional that they're sending to Ukraine. I feel like it was last week that they said they were going to send 8 billion, and then you hear about money going to Lebanon, and this going to that and that going to this. And the simple way to think about it is, on your own personal level, if your paycheck's 2,500, a responsible person is going to spend less than 2,500. I think our system has kind of enabled us to use credit cards and stuff, but at some point, your average everyday person, they're gonna quit increasing your numbers, and you know you're not gonna be able to borrow anymore. So you need to be fiscally responsible, and that kind of covers a lot of this rant, because I've seen news articles talking about FEMA money running out. Uh, I've heard politicians talk about there's not enough money to deal with other natural disasters. There's not money to deal with the border crisis, or the drug problems, or you can think of any issue within our nation, and then you can find an equal number of stories where money was spent somewhere else. You can see instances where at the federal, state, and local level that you're being hampered when you're trying to do something. I think one of the ones that can irritate a lot of people was the school shooting in Texas, where the police weren't going in, but they were perfectly fine stopping parents going in and trying to deal with the situation. And, you know, there's rumors about hurricane supplies not going to the places they need to go. And, you know, you can find stories everywhere of, a common sense person can tell you they handled that the wrong way. I mean, I'd say you can even look at COVID and, how that was handled. They're not looking out for you, and so you need to do the looking out for yourself. You can kind of see stuff in the background, but, that old ruck is set up as a bug out bag. There's a lot of stuff on that shelf that is prepping related. And, at some point, you need to develop your own insurance policy. Um, there's only so much that they may or may not do, and it's just a really good sense of feeling to know that you can go to sleep each night and say, I'm taken care of, my family's taken care of, my kids are taken care of. And it's not something you really see at the, state or federal level. You set up a strategic oil reserve. That way, if there's any problem, it's really supposed to be like a safety net till you can fix said problem. And here recently, it's mostly been used as a political tool. That the the energy issue, is another great example. It was talked about in one of the debates that the U.S. has some of the cleanest methods of using fossil fuels compared to other countries, and yet we're importing a lot of it from other places when we've got it here. We've got massive quantities to the point where we could definitely take care of ourselves, and we've got massive quantities that we could take care of ourselves, increase the strategic reserve, and then sell it to other countries and try to fix our deficit issue. But we're not doing that. So it falls on you to make sure that you're covered. And that's expensive. Getting solar and wind and, backup generators and stuff. You've got to do that for yourself because they're not going to do it. There was recently talks about giving loans out to black farmers, and it got struck down because food is extremely important, and that's racist. The judge essentially said, you can't combat past discrimination with present discrimination. And that's one of those issues where I don't know all of the farmers that when I go to Walmart and I pick up, all the different groceries. I don't know what the skin color or the gender of the farmers are. I just care that from a merit-based system, if they're using 100 acres to make something, that they are being the most productive that they can with what they have. Because, we all have to eat. And if our government is trying to, implement policies like that to be more DEI or whatever, that's another one of those examples where they're not, they're not caring about you. They're, caring about getting, sympathy points. And so to that, I would say you need to do something to take care of yourself. You know what you consume. You know the caloric intake that your family needs. They're not handling it the right way, so you should try to handle it yourself. Uh, the whole water issue. I was reading stories out of Dallas, Texas, where they don't have enough water to sustain that area, so they're talking about making new lakes and reserves, and them doing that is going to disrupt thousands of different families and lands that they've lived on. So that's a state level where they're not worried about taking care of you, they're worried about taking care of themselves. And, thankfully, I think court wise, it's going to get knocked down. But that's another one of those examples of we're going to take care of ourselves, and, you'll figure it out. And I could go on, a 40 or 50-minute example of all the different things. I don't know all of the issues going on at every state level, but people are still talking about not having clean drinking water in Flint, Michigan, and in Palestine, Ohio. There's still issues with that train derailment, and that's just That's Ohio and Michigan. I couldn't tell you what's going on in Utah or Pennsylvania or Arizona. If you live in those areas and you watch these videos, you can leave comments down below on what's going on in your area. But what this video should tell you is there's enough things going on federally. From the handful of things I talked about at my state level, you probably have a handful of things that you can go, yeah, they didn't care about us there, or their response was mediocre at best. So that's your second. And then I really couldn't tell you all of the different local issues, but there should be enough issues going on that, it's time to wake up, quit smelling the flowers and do something about it. At the very least, if you've got 2 weeks worth of food and water, you are doing better than 90% of Americans. If you have purchased firearms, you're spending the time training with it, then, you're able to defend yourself and your family. There was a story about it was a husband and wife, a couple years ago. They kind of got memed a little bit. The husband comes out with his AR and the wife's holding her handgun, not in a way that she's going to be productive. And, people were trespassing and they were ready to defend what was theirs, and they got in trouble for it. At least initially. Everything I've read, once it went through the whole legal system, then, they were fine. But I would also say, it is better to protect yourself in the beginning and get through the problems later than have someone else have to come in and protect you, and you get hurt, or God forbid people die, and you're still going to deal with the legal system. You're just dealing with it later. Follow all your different state laws or whatever, but if you have the laws on the books to protect yourself, then do everything that you can. Stand up for what you believe in. There's other parts of prepping. It is free to exercise. You don't have to own anything to better yourself. Now, purchasing equipment or a gym membership can make it easier. It can make it more motivating, and you can, target specific muscle groups and stuff like that. But, that pack that I have on the shelf that's just right of the cat, it weighs about 55 pounds. It's got the stuff in it to take care of myself and my family. So, at the very least, I should be able to carry that many, many miles and as far as I need to go to keep us safe. And I know I'm going to need to go more than 5 miles to make that happen. So at the very least, I can train with that equipment and make it to where I can get to where I need to go. And then the last thing I think I'd say is, keep yourself informed. Pay attention to the news. Watch these different videos about stuff that's going on. And, it helps keep you prepared. If there was a major push, like in the 60s, where they were saying you need to build fallout shelters, if something were to happen, they were informed and they got prepared for that specific scenario. You can be informed like that for natural disasters. I'm going to make a video about getting prepared for the election and the things you need to do. But, if you don't know anything's going on in the news, then it's kind of difficult to be prepared. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts? How are you getting prepared? Do you have any questions? Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family, like the video, do all of those things. And with that, catch you in the next one.